Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined as always by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. How you doing, Matt? So good to see you. You look great in red.
Yeah, well, thank you. Dawn, it's great to see you too. We with this weird sporadic schedule we've got going, this off season. It's just like every time I see you, it feels that much more vibrant. It's just that much better, more exciting to have the chance to talk to you here, to be joined by some of our friends like Iowa Joe in the comments, like he tends to pop by. Joe, man, I appreciate you for being here. Thanks, friend. And I'm doing great. I talked last time about the new gig that I've got at work, and that is going awesome. Dawn, today I was doing some deep diving into some data we need for how to focus some of our resources. And I basically spent probably 6 hours just playing around in Excel. And it was just like, oh, it was so great. It was so great. So between that and helping students out to get registered and kind of helping provide them with resources to be successful and working with my colleagues around campus who do the same kind of work in their respective colleges at UC, works great. And at home here, we're looking to potentially buy a new house in the same neighborhood. So the whole process of getting rid of stuff that you don't really need anymore and the deep cleaning so you can get ready for pictures so we could list the house. The house feels lighter and it's been a lot of work. I mean, we're exhausted, but the house feels lighter and everything looks clean and nice. And the only view that, the people who watch our show ever get is this rectangle here. And so everything behind me looks the same as it ever did. But if you can see the rest of the room here, it looks nice in here. So, it's just a very exciting time. So that, and of course with football, just on the precipice of giving us, the tasty little morsels that are, like Andy Herman's tweets from training camp, with all that, just about to happen, I'm pumped. Don. How are you doing? How have you been?
I'm so pumped. I'm ready to finally really get into football content like I used to, because I just feel like this season didn't end. I thought it was going to go super fast, the off season, and it did. But I was afraid if I took in too much content, I would get myself too riled up and excited, and then it would take longer. Does that make sense? So
yeah, absolutely.
They didn't go faster. So now I'm like, oh, good. I can listen to all the football content I want, and it's going to be right here around the corner. So 6 days till training camp.
That's bananas.
I know.
Holy cow.
Oh.
Well, it's funny, the content you haven't been consuming, Don, has been so much man, it is late in the summer. What are we going to talk about? Kind of stuff. But there was, this isn't one of my superlatives. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but there was this one really interesting thing that I thought about having as a superlative, which was a discussion on the Athletic Football Show about who's the sixth best quarterback, which is a hilarious framing for a thing, but it's a really good episode. So that's where we're at. Who's the sixth best quarterback? So anyhow, but I think I interrupted you. You were saying.
I don't think you did. You did. Oh, I just popped Joe's comment up. The kids should be the first thing to go when decluttering.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been great if they could have helped out more, but
yeah, they're too little for that, aren't
they? They're to a degree. They're just not fast enough. It's not fast or clear enough of a sense of what needs to happen. That's beside the point. They're lovely. They're amazing people. I love them. So there you go.
Yeah. Not too young to put to work.
That's right. Yes. But with a lot of guidance to get it done right. Yes, that's what it is.
Right. I like the idea of decluttering. I have so much stuff because I've downsized from a home to it's just so much. And I've been just doing little bits at a time, and I'm not pressuring myself. I thought about it today. It's okay, so by next year, I'm giving myself a whole year. By next year, I'm going to reduce my closet. I actually have 2 full like full decked out walk-in closets filled with clothes and shoes, like probably 300 pairs of shoes.
What? Are you
Yeah,
are you exaggerating?
I've
Say
got,
300 pairs of shoes?
well, over 200. I've cut down already. Yeah, and I just I just like shoes a lot. And I would, I just clothes too. Just you don't even want to know. So my goal is to cut that down by half so that I just have one closet. I don't know if I'll ever get
Just
my
have one
closet, but
yeah,
I'm gonna get rid of a lot of shoes. I don't care if I give them away or whatever, but I just have to figure out which ones I can part with. Because a lot of them were like really expensive investment pieces,
That's shoes.
And I've worn it like once or twice. Yeah.
My wife just divested herself of a bunch of shoes tonight, actually. So it's kind of funny you said that. One of her siblings is over, like actually downstairs right now, going through the shoes and seeing what they're going to
exactly
take home with them. And for my wife, it was hard to get to that point of being like, okay, I'm never going to wear all these shoes anymore. We need to just kind of like, get it moving. So that's shoes. A couple quick shout outs to the comment section here. HE Soder says, I can't take any more list content. Make it stop.
Make this stop.
Right. Seriously, there's a lot of that. And we have John Smith. Are you a Mormon clothing prepper? Which is a funny thing because isn't John Smith the guy who founded the Mormon church? I think, right?
Joseph
Smith. Okay. It was his brother.
I thought the same thing at first. I was like, that's funny. But then, it was funny comment. And then it's like, is that Joseph? Yeah. But then it's John. maybe a relative of Joseph.
A distant relative. No. Common name. Not a very common name, Smith. Not a very common name at all. So.
Right. Right.
Yeah, no. So lightening the spaces is a great feeling. Dropping stuff off at like a Goodwill or a St. Vinny's. It's satisfying,
Yeah. I started just with, because I used to run and do like races and stuff. So last weekend I was out. I just took all my, because I keep all my like Keds and Converse and then running shoes and tennis shoes, athletic shoes, all in a hallway area that's not even a closet. It's just all shoe boxes. And I'm like, this has to stop. So I just took all of them and I threw them out in the hallway. I live on the end, so I have a big space. So I'm not like bothering anyone else. And a neighbor came by and she's like, I said, what size shoes are you? Because I have like really expensive running shoes that I've never worn, because I would buy like them on sale because you go through them, right? And then I stopped running, but I can still wear them for walking. But it's not easy to get somebody who's my size either. I have really small feet. But anyway, she said she has a friend, so I gave her like, I don't know, 6 pairs of shoes down there, and I got rid of half of those. And then I took the ones that I'm keeping and they're all nice and tidy, and I got them out of the hallway.
Nice. It's a process. You have to like make a mess before you can make a not mess, right?
It's such a mess. It's so messy. Yeah. So, and I have a little fly, which is really unusual. Okay, so my latest hobby.
Yes.
This is how I'm doing. My latest thing is bug eating plants. I have a bug right now. It's like we don't have many bugs because it's normally really kind of dry here, so we don't get a lot of those. But there's this little fly, and he likes my screen. So I got a really cool looking bug eating plant. It's very exotic and very pretty. It's tall and it's got like fluted. It's called a pitcher plant.
I say it's like a pitcher plant, yeah.
Yeah, and then if you get like hybrids and stuff from specialty gardens, you can get different colors and that. So I have one more coming, and then I found a relative of the pitcher plant called the cobra nest.
Ooh, that's a cooler name.
Yeah, well, they're shaped like cobras, and they look like a nest of them. And they're all like standing up like a cobra with that kind of a head. So that's I got one of those. It's smaller, but those get bigger. And then if you don't kill them, and you have to do something. You have to treat them very differently than than regular plants. Like you don't put them in dirt, and they have to sit in a little dish of water, like pebble dish, pebbles down, and you have to only use distilled water. Like it's a whole thing.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I've gotten them in the past, but I never really researched it. And I love them, and I've wanted to get back into them. And then my friend got into them, and she kind of did all the research, and I saw her set up, and I was like, oh, I can do this easy. Then, so I got 2 of the pitcher, 1 of the cobra, and then we were out, and I was looking for something else, and I got a bunch of Venus flytraps. So those aren't my favorite, but I got those all because we have these little gnats right now.
Okay.
But it takes them a few weeks before they have the energy to eat. I mean, there might be a fly that drops in there, but
sure.
They go into shock when they're sold and shipped and all that. So
okay. Yeah.
They're not really eating bugs yet.
Yeah, it's not like they're a native species that you're just like picking up from a garden and walking over that like grew there. They're shipped. That makes sense.
Yeah, they go into shock. You might lose most of the leaves, it says, and all that, but hopefully I won't lose the whole plant.
Hopefully.
So yeah, cat eating plant. No. Tosh went over by the Venus flytrap last night, and I'm like, no. Leave it alone. It's in shock. I'm all protective. Oh, did you hear about my Tosh emergency last week?
What? No. What?
Oh,
no.
God. So I'm trying to leash train her. And so when I'm out, like just in the hallways and, upstairs here, I don't let her out. I put a collar on her and a little Apple tracker in case she goes and chases a bird or something, which could happen, or something. And usually if she hears anything scary, she runs into the apartment and she screams if I close the apartment door. So the apartment door has to stay open, which is probably why I have a little fly in here. And so I was working so I made this huge arrangement, and I mean huge. You can't see my hands because that's how big it is, of bromeliads and orchids. And I'm putting the one carnivorous in the center, and then it has branches. It's really cool. And so I'm doing it because I had to separate out this big bromeliad. I had hundreds of plants. It grew babies, pups. They're called pups. So anyway, I'm working on that, and Tosh is kind of in and out. I thought she was inside. I thought she was napping. I looked at the Apple tracker. It said she was with me, so I really didn't pay attention. I thought I heard a scream, but I ignored it. And about an hour later, my neighbor's comes upstairs from downstairs. Dawn, there's a kitty downstairs. I don't know. She didn't know it was mine. And she had fallen down between. So I'm on the 3rd floor and she's on the 2nd floor. So there's stairs that go, stairs go like that. They go like a straight, and then you turn, and then they switch back.
Like a landing situation. Right.
A landing, and then switch back, landing, switch back, like that. So you can look from the 3rd floor. There's like a 4-inch spot. You can look straight down, and it's concrete. And somehow or another, she was between that spot, like outside the railing. Oh no! She was stuck, and she was like all contorted. Oh my God! She didn't scratch or bite or scream or anything. She took me a while. I got her out, and she just hugged me. Oh, I know. I'm still traumatized by it. I don't know what she did, if she saw something and ran after it, or if it was one of the neighbors that scared her and she went that way instead of this way, but I thought she went this way, or if she snuck, because there's a bell on her collar too. I was right there by the door, so I don't know what happened, but dumb little cat. So now she's not as brave out there. Like she was kind of going to the landing, just the top landing. Now she's only going to the doormat. Yeah, she's kind of stare shy at this point. Yeah, which is good. I want her to be seriously. Yeah, for her own safety, apparently, right? Because she's not real bright. I think I've mentioned that before. You have. It's come up. Oh, anywho, well. Okay. Oh, True North Packer says, anyone else in chat worried that Dawn watches jury trials because she's making plans to get rid of Matt?
It's all good, True
No.
North. We live states upon states away from each other, so I think I'm safe.
Hi, Swiffer Dusty. I know it was horrible. I can't even. I can't even. Okay, so now Joe says first it's a cat that's going to eat Dawn. Now it's going to be plants.
Hashtag feed me Seymour.
I used to be kind of nervous, especially the Venus flytraps. They do look very like they have teeth.
Yeah, very alien, very.
I'm not really. They're not my favorite, but if they'll eat a fly or two, I'm happy.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, like the one in here right now. Yeah, it was scary. It was really scary. Hopefully we'll never have anything like that happen again. But it's kind of set us back on leash training. So if I want to take her out, she has to go in the stroller.
Yeah. Which is a funny image.
It's a very funny image, especially I should say next time I'll post a video here on YouTube for you guys to see in the community tab. Because she screams the whole time when she's in there until we get out and about a little bit.
Sure.
It's like nonstop. And then I scream back and it's just a whole thing. Nope. I have cactus as well, but no, the carnivorous actually, depending on the plant, they have mechanisms that attract, they put out like a nectar that's sweet smelling for bugs, so it attracts the bugs, and they usually have some kind of stickiness to them, so the bugs kind of stick. And some of them, like the Venus flytrap, and it doesn't just eat flies, it eats other bugs too. There are like these little spikes on the mouth, the open mouth, that if once the bug hits it, it triggers it and it closes. So
that is amazing. I mean, how do plants evolve to that, right? Like that is very cool.
And the way that they eat, I mean, the way that they survive is by eating the plants. I mean, I'm sorry, by eating the bugs. So you don't feed them.
Right. Yeah. They feed themselves if you have bugs around. Sure.
You can feed them bugs, right? So yeah, it's very interesting. And then the pitcher plant that I was mentioning, Sarracenia is technically what it's called. They work differently, but what happens somehow or another, the bugs go like the same thing. They do attract the bugs, and so they're like a champagne flute, but they go out a little bit, or like a tulip, but only taller. And the bugs will ultimately fall in, and they can't get out for some reason. I don't know what all the mechanisms are, and then they have digestive enzymes that eat the bugs. It's down here,
which is wild, right?
It's so crazy how it all works. Yeah. Anywho, Maddie, so
that's the off season.
That's the off season. We're not doing a list, although I'm going to talk about a list, sort of. But it wasn't a list. Kind of it is. Okay, I won't lie. It's a list. But that's one of my superlatives.
Superlatives, you say, Dawn? Should we do some superlatives?
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. It's time for this week's superlatives. Why do I keep
Oh my god, that's never getting old for me. I don't know. It tickles me every time, Dawn.
So, Maddie, superlatives. What kind of superlatives do you have this week?
Well, I got 4. How many do you have this week?
I have 4 too.
All right. Well, since you asked, how about I'll start with my first one? We can volley.
Yes.
All right.
Please do.
Okay. My first superlative this week, my friend, is best tribute. All right. So we all know Mark Murphy is 1 foot out the door, sadly, our Ginger King. And there was this really nice little moment in one of the insider inboxes, which of course, Wes Hodquist and Mike Spofford split, doing the daily mailbag from fans who write in. And so I'm going to read this because it was that good. It needs to just be read as is. And so, for those who are not familiar, I don't know why you're not. I mean, this is like one of the core pieces of Packers content out there you should be checking every day. But basically, let's see here. Shannon from Olivia, Texas, from Avila, Texas, had written and say, as we prepare for the last MT5, which is where Mark Murphy takes 5, writes answers to questions, kind of like the mailbox here, the insider inbox, except from Mark Murphy. It's always great. It's monthly, I think. So she said, as we prepare for the last MT5, I just wanted to say thank you to Mark Murphy for all he has done for this organization over the past 17 years. I hope he enjoys his well-deserved retirement. I don't believe there is another team executive in any sport that regularly answers fan questions in a public forum like he does. And so that was kind of the setup. And so what Wes said, and this was great. I'm just going to read it as is. Wes Hodquist said, I'm excited to read it as well. There's no executive in pro sports quite like Mark, and these next few weeks will be highly emotional for those of us who have had the privilege of working alongside him. I was asked Thursday about legacies of the most recent presidents and CEOs. Yes, Titletown is a big part of what Mark accomplished here, but I feel like his real legacy is being a man of the people. He relished his place in the community and enjoyed engaging with fans each day he was on the job. In my 9 years punching the clock at Lambeau, I never once saw Mark turn down an autograph or photo. That's the sign of a true leader. It's not year-over-year earnings, fancy suits, or gala appearances. It's being present with the people who ultimately pay all our salaries. We can all learn something from Mark Murphy. I know I certainly did. Just beautiful, right?
That's amazing. Yeah, that came via email to, if you're subscribed, you shouldn't. If you're not, you should be, to Packers.com updates and such. So yeah, it is really emotional. It's I can't imagine how it would feel for somebody who's worked super closely with him for lots of years.
Yeah. And just to say that he is a man of the people, I think that's just so true, because I mean, how many times have you seen somebody post a picture like where they're shaking his hand, they like some at the pro shop or like whatever, they just ran across him and Mark Murphy was happy to stop and take a picture or whatever else. He's he's hilarious in interviews because he'll say stuff he maybe shouldn't always reveal the things he says, or calling Aaron Rodgers a complicated fella in the middle of kind of a complicated time with them, so he's at his fair share of I can't believe he said that moments. And that's it makes him seem more real, more relatable. Yeah. It's just, he's a person with a lot of responsibility who's done a lot, but at the end of the day, it's he's just a dude, just kind of crazy uncle is kind of what he's like. I love him. Sad to see him going. Hopefully, obviously Ed Posse has big shoes to fill, and I hope he, and I think he probably will appreciate what Mark Murphy has been as a public facing person.
Yeah. And Wes and Mike both have taken his example. They've both been on our show. Mm-hmm. They're very personable. If you've ever been to a Packers Everywhere event, they're out there with the peeps. And I just feel like that is a top-down, trickle-down type of attitude that I hope continues even after Mike is gone. Mark is gone.
Yes.
Mark Murphy is gone. I can't.
Some M name. I don't know.
Well, I was thinking M. Yeah. Okay. I love it.
So what's your first one? Yeah, what do you have for your first one?
Okay. Best mindset for the upcoming season.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And this is from our Andy Herman. How the Packers can win Super Bowl LX.
Ooh. I like this.
Yes. This is from today. And this is from Pack-A-Day on YouTube. Pack-A-Day podcast. Urgency, which is what Goody said at his last press conference, his most recent press conference, a sense of urgency and progress, so that each player needs to show that they've progressed from the prior year, can't stay the same. A little bit of luck in the injury department. I'm paraphrasing here, obviously. We need J-Lo to play like he did at the end of the 23 season.
Toyotathon Jordan Love. Yes.
And and injury luck again. I'll just say there because we don't need a lot of injuries like last year with him. They need to be in the top 10 in pass rush.
Tall order.
Better, more likely this year than last year, right? Though
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I agree.
I'm glad you agree. Okay, because I want to know your thoughts on this. Okay, that's why I'm doing this. Because I want to hear what you say. So, efficiency stats, and so he made a comparison to Bo Ryan, who was the coach for the Badgers, I believe, basketball. And he designed his wins, his strategy and he based it on the top 3 to 5 stats for every game.
Okay.
So for stats, Andy was referring to 3rd and 4th down percentage, both for for offensive and defense. Red zone percentage for both O and D, and the turnover percentage. So if they can do well in those 3 things, that's another one of the formula. He said that he feels like Matt LaFleur's aggression needs to come back up to where it used to be.
Yes. Agreed.
And for those who aren't Packer fans, that's head coach Matt LaFleur, MLF. Less wide receiver drops and errors. That would be nice.
Yeah. Seriously.
But our wide receiver room is probably one of our strongest rooms. It was pretty strong last year too, but again, injuries. But I feel pretty good, but that could be improved. Yeah. Especially if the players are progressing. We had a lot of very young players last year. The depth. So the depth chart. So when people step up to play, those people on 2nd and 3rd string are going to have to really perform.
Yes.
Because we don't have so much strength and depth on in certain positions, and so they're going to have to really do well for us to win the Super Bowl. And greatness needs to happen. The stars, we need to have stars, and they must really shine through this season. So we have good players, but we didn't really have stars necessarily. We have some that are right on the brink. I think that this was a different article I read, but there were 4 players according to PFF. 4 of the best players on the Packers team. I think the Chiefs had like 9, you know what I mean? So
yeah, that's the thing, because Packers are like across the board, like a very good team, but not a lot of high end, at least from this last season or two. But I think there's a lot of potential for, a lot of people to break out and be that kind of high end that, a lot of commentators are saying we don't have. So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's what I want from you. Because I want to hear what you have to say about this, which is one of the reasons I brought this one up, because I agree that that's all of these things are possible for this season.
Yes, agreed.
Achievable, right? And so that's what I liked about this. What he did here. Number 10. It's not a list. Goody needs to make a good find. He compared it to like Razul. Remember when we got Razul and he just panned out, or Brandon McManus. And he needs to do it before the season starts. I was thinking, because I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, the Packers have so much money. When are they going to spend it?" Well, they're going to spend it when they find somebody that's worth spending it on, or 2 people. And we don't just spend money to spend money, or maybe even if we don't, later on in the season when we need someone.
Yeah.
We can have the money there. Packers need to face and overcome adversity.
Ooh, yes.
And then they need to be better in big games, because basically last year we lost to the Lions twice, to the Eagles twice, and to the Vikings. And the previous year was to the 49ers. And those were all doable games, or at least half of them.
Yeah. Yeah, at least half of them were like, we were in it and right there. That's the case for almost all those, in fact. thinking back on it. And yeah, I mean, like the team has shown when they, are in a big game, they can win. I mean, I think back to the Lions, on Thanksgiving in 2023. Like that was a huge game, and they walk in and they stomped the Lions in their home, on
Right.
national TV, and it was amazing. I mean, I think that, like you're saying, I do think that pretty much all these are definitely within the realm of possibility, and you just hope that the stars can align. And I think ultimately, there's probably any given year at least 10 teams that have the potential to win the Super Bowl. And it's just a matter of like how things like line up and how much luck they have. I mean, injury, like you said, that's a huge part of it. And just like if they're hot when the when the postseason comes up, there's so many things that you can't predict, and you just kind of hope for the best. So could these things all happen and the Packers get to the Super Bowl? I think absolutely. I think we're one of the 10 teams that could make it, if we're saying just kind of picking a random number. But I love when Andy does kind of lay these things out and say, like, here's what I see as being like, if all these things go the right way, like we have a great chance. And I think it's true. I mean, I think that if Jordan Love is like Toyota Thon Jordan Love again, if the pass rush can come together, top 10 seems like, given this last year, kind of like, can that happen? But it can, because, who, like, wasn't it Kenny Clark was injured this last year and played through injury for like the whole season. If he's right, that he's like a force multiplier, across the D line. We have, a lot of younger players who are like ready to take a step up. I think, we could see like a great year from Carl Brooks, for example. And then, with the DBs, I think are looking really good. People are, they worry about the corners we have, but I feel like we're in really good shape with that, actually.
Do you?
Yeah, I actually do.
I was wondering. Okay.
I think the people who are really, really worried about it, like, it's not perfect. It's not the best, cornerback room in the league, but I think it's a lot better than people are giving them credit for. And like, I think, Carrington Valentine is I think he's really good and kind of underrated. I think people don't really notice him, and Packers fans obviously know who he is really well, but I think outside of that, he's not getting the respect. And I think this year he's going to show people that he does deserve that respect, So like, going back to pass rush, the pieces are there. I'm hoping that with the new coach, for that room, that we really see the kind of turnaround that they're capable of. I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic about everything. I think that could happen. Thinking in terms of Matt LaFleur's aggression, especially on fourth down calls, and not on throwing bad challenge flags. That is, he's shown it before. I did feel like a lot of his stuff was. I shouldn't say a lot of his stuff, because like his game plans to mitigate not having Jordan Love because of injuries, and when we had Malik Willis in his place, like that was aggressive and amazing and creative, and so I don't mean to like criticize everything LaFleur did, but his like moments when you would see like a Dan Campbell saying, we're going for it, we're going to be like physical, we're going to be tough to get this 2 yards that we need on fourth down, bring that kind of an attitude to it. Definitely. Talking about less wide receiver drops, I just feel like statistically it's not possible to have that bad of a season, drops wise. And I know that the wide receivers understand like their standing in the drop percentage rate league wide. I'm sure they're keenly aware of that. I think somebody was talking about, I might have this slightly wrong, but I think they said like Jaden Reed posted to Instagram with like the jugs machine in his garage that he's working with. So I think like they're working on it. So I think, it can't be that bad again. Like statistically, they're going to regress to the mean, So like that's gonna be better. And I think we'll have some of the guys breaking out, this season. So I think the other one I was going to mention too is with Gutekunst needs to find like that like diamond in the rough that he seems to every time. That's when it's like, how is it possible? How could it happen again? But it always does. He always finds somebody, and maybe it's going to be McCall Hardman, or maybe it's going to be Nate Hobbs, like the people who we picked up, already as free agents. But maybe there's another free agent out there that he is going to find out about or has a beat on, or whatever.
Right.
Or when cutdowns come, in a couple of weeks. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of folks out there that'll suddenly be available. And, I think Goody might have his eye on somebody, could happen. And we could pick up that that diamond in the rough. So that was a lot of words, Don, for me to say. I always think Andy's got, great points. He lays them out well. And I think that pretty much all the things you're talking about here are very possible. So, yeah.
I think our corners are talented. I just didn't know if we have any depth there.
Could be deeper. It's true.
Yeah.
That is
yeah.
one of the, in terms of depth, that's more worrying. Yeah.
That's probably more what I was concerned with. What I liked about this podcast that Andy did today was it also looks a little daunting too, but it is daunting to get to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
But it also, it's like, it's kind of nice because I remember last season thinking, there were some things, I can't remember what they were at this point, but there were certain things that I had my eye on because, it was we were being reminded of it all season that we were not doing well with. And it's like, I would think to myself, well, you can't get to the Super Bowl with that kind of statistic or with that kind of a problem. Right. And so I like it because it gives me hope, but it also gives me like a reality check for if we don't get to the Super Bowl this year, it's like a little umbrella to fall back on, it's like to catch. Yeah. So I liked it for a couple of reasons. And then this is part A. There's a part B to this. So this is because I have two superlatives in one. So I'm just going to, it's not as long. So the next one is the state of the Green Bay Packers organization. And this is from ESPN Milwaukee. This is just a summary. Again, you go to Pack-A-Day to get more detailed and to ESPN Milwaukee to get more details on both of these because I'm just paraphrasing. And so this was Alex Strofe, Gabe, and Jason Wilde. Yeah. Who's under the most pressure? Obviously, they came down with Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, and Matthew Golden.
Okay. All right. I can see
that. Who might be having heat because of a new president. We were just talking about Mark Murphy. His replacement is Ed Policy. Matt LaFleur again. And Goody. Maybe Goody. These three think that the Packers are a good team, not a great team, as it stands right now, but they haven't played one game yet. So
right. Yeah.
I think their consensus it's basically the same as last year, but I don't think that's true. It's never the same as the previous season.
True.
Right. And we talked about this last year because if we picked up where we left off in the previous season, we would have been much farther ahead than what as it turned out. We started this, the season starter in Brazil at that crazy, weird, slippery field and Jordan Love getting injured. It was like, the worst. It wasn't the worst, but it felt like the worst at the time.
Yeah, I mean, the worst within the context of this is entertainment and fun. Yes.
Yes.
But remember the 24 hours or so we had to wait to hear about like what happened to Jordan?
Oh,
what his injury was and the prognosis. And
so weird. Yeah. Like, is he going to play this season or not?
Right.
Yeah.
Oof,
that was
rough.
Crazy. They said, and they mentioned four of the players were top 4 players according to PFF, but they need to be better. They need to be stars. They need to be big time contributors. Those 4 players and maybe more. And I forgot who they were right off the top of my head.
Probably like Rashawn Gary, Jordan Love, maybe Matthew Golden, maybe
Edgerton,
not. But
I think Edgerton also. It's not Edgerton.
Edgerton Cooper, do you mean?
Yes, Edgerton
Cooper.
Edgerton is a British.
Edgerton is also a city in Wisconsin.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But a player who wouldn't have been on that list. So H.E. Soder says, another list. How is LVN not on the most pressure list? Because nothing's expected of him. Because he's shown nothing to have any pressure. It's just like, well, if he does something great, and if not, he's off the team soon enough. I think LVN, man, if he can do something, it'd be huge. I'm not counting on it.
I hope so. And then they basically, they kind of ranged between 10, 11, and maybe 12 top 13 wins for the season. Most of them didn't have really strong feeling that we're going to get to the playoffs. I find that hard to believe.
What?
Maybe wild card. They think we'll be second in the North to the Lions because it's a harder schedule this year.
It is. True.
Yeah. Yeah. They mentioned the same thing. They good but not great, have to stay healthy, won't find a way there if there are injuries based on the depth chart. That's what I'm concerned about. I think our depth chart is pretty good on some positions, but not others.
In most
so
positions. Yeah.
they
sure.
felt they agreed that the Packers were a year away from truly competing for a championship. I hope we're competing this year. But that's what they said.
Yeah.
That's what they said. They're looking for more consistency from J-Lo, which is fair. We all are. I think it'll be hopefully the first year that he's actually playing a whole year. It's just been a lot of. I mean, he played in 2023, but that was really his first year. He was sort of a rookie, even though he wasn't a rookie. You know what I mean? I just feel like he hasn't gotten the number of games that somebody you would think who's been on the team for that long. He just hasn't had that much exposure. But this year he will. Yeah. So, and I think they also agree Matt LaFleur and J-Lo it's going to be on them. They're under the most heat. Yep.
Quick reminder from Joe, by the way, from Iowa. Joey says, LVN also dealt with a thumb injury last year, and that's not good in an edge rusher. That's true. I'd forgotten that detail. And so that's reason for optimism there too. You know, his body is right. He can use his hands again as an edge rusher. That is actually really important and a good reminder, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and of course, it's the coach and the quarterback is usually where most of the heat is, not just for the Packers.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So that's nothing super unique to the Packers. So what's your next superlative, Maddie?
Yeah, my next one. So there's a part 1 and there's a part 2. I'll do them separately. So, and it's really more like 1A, 1B. So this is best guest part 1 because there's 2 really great guests I want to talk about. This best guest part 1 was our friend Paul Farrington. So for those who don't know, Paul Farrington is an excellent YouTuber. He's a Vikings fan. He has a great show about the Vikings. That's actually kind of a show about the Packers half the time because they talk a lot about the Packers on the show. A lot of Packers people show up in the comments section and are big fans. So anyhow, he was on Pack a Day with Andy. So again, talking about the video Pack a Day coming up a couple times today. And he's just funny and he's fun to listen to, and hearing him and Andy, you know, two of my favorite content creators out there coming together to talk about stuff was super fun. So this is one of those where it's like, if you're not familiar with Paul Farrington, that's a great sort of like a, gateway into learning more about him. And then you check out a show from there where it's him and Ziggy and what's the other guy's name? I always forget his name. Shoot.
Tommy.
He was on our show. I should know his name. What is it? Tommy. There. Thank you. Yes. So would recommend. Did you actually check that out? Did you hear that one?
I saw Andy on Paul's show, and Paul mentioned that he was on Andy's show, and I went to go watch that, and then instead I watched the one that I just talked about because it was today, so I have to still play that one. Yeah, I really enjoy the Paul Farrington show for sure.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Super fun.
So since you kind of like chained 2 of yours, should I just actually go ahead with my other best guest one? All right. So technically my third superlative here, best guest part 2. This was Carmen Vitale. She was on the Mina Kimes show featuring Lenny as part of their previewing the NFC North episode. And, Carmen was on with Andy Herman a lot I think this last season, right? I think like once a week, because Carmen is a reporter who covers all of the NFC North. She's, I think, based out of Chicago. I think she's a Chicago Bears fan, if I remember correctly, but still a really good objective reporter. But just Carmen she's so smart and so interesting and so good at like conveying, the takes she has about the teams. I think she's a very balanced reporter. And just she's always really fun to listen to. So then her, joining forces with Mina Kimes, who you don't love Mina Kimes, what's wrong with you? Hearing their takes on the NFC North was a ton of fun and a lot of good insight, a lot of good takes there. So highly recommended. If you haven't checked that out, that's a good one.
Oh, I want to see that. I love her name too, Carmen Vitale. It just seems
It's a great
so,
name. I know, right?
yeah, Carmen Miranda type-ish, but better.
It sounds sophisticated.
Yeah, it sounds Italian, and it makes me want to eat spaghetti.
True North throwing a little promo in here that it was worth mentioning, Don, don't you think? He says, speaking of crossover episodes, check out our latest Ohana Packers episode.
That's right.
What's he talking about? What happened in the latest one, Don?
We were talking backstage, so I didn't say that up front. I didn't say that online. Yes, so
Cool.
I was a guest crossover on OPE, Ohana Packers Edition, on the Tuesday show. So just it dropped 2 days ago. We recorded it on Sunday, and it was off season, off topic, right? And so Joe invited me to talk about my trial watching hobby. And so I talked about some of the cases that I've been watching and plan to watch and upcoming cases. And Joe shared a lot about some of the cases that he's been following or has followed in the past, some of which are pretty local to him in his tiny little small town. Yeah.
That's what stuff happens. Small towns, man.
I guess so. Man, I was intrigued. So it was a fun conversation. I really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys listen to it too. I posted it in the community tab here on YouTube, on Facebook, and I think on Blue Sky as well. So you can click on that anytime and replay it. Whether you're interested in watching trials or true crime or any of that, it's just a fun conversation. You know what I mean? You don't have to be interested in that topic. I thought, if I do say so myself. So thank you, Joe, for inviting me. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Outstanding.
Speaking of legal issues.
Yeah, as I say, what's your next superlative? I was just going to kind of lead into it. I think you got it.
Yeah, speaking of legal issues, sports law is also interesting to me. A lot of people, it's boring too. So we don't, but there sure is enough about it going on, and it's interesting. So superlative most maddening mess. This is an update to the collusion conversation, the NFL collusion situation
from last time,
from 3 weeks ago. A lot has happened, as I thought it would, because it never made sense to me. I knew there was more. I knew it. It never made sense to me why JCTretter would be kind of hiding the win, really, that the NFLPA, the union for the NFL players had. So, and then I think I mentioned 3 weeks ago that it was my understanding. And again, all of this is just based on my opinions and my understanding. I'm not a lawyer. I don't have any inside knowledge. So I'm gathering this from other sources. But it was my understanding based on what I read that the statute of limitations had already been passed, and I think it was 6 months was my understanding. So that the players associated, the players, once they learned about all this collusion, theoretically, allegedly, they would have had they would have no recourse because the statute of limitations. Well, voila, they have filed an appeal. So there evidently it's being taken up. So there'll be a 3-person panel to handle the appeal. It is moving forward, and it's supposed to be moving forward with pretty quickly. And the 3-person panel, if 2/3, so 2 out of the 3 agree that there was collusion, they can win. They can win this against the NFL. And so the question is, will we ever know? Because everything seems to get hidden. The other possibility is before that the appeal goes to the panel, the NFL might settle. And that also might be kept under wraps. So it'll be interesting. But remember I talked about Lloyd Howell, who was elected in quotations. I call it appointed by JCTretter to fill in for him as the executive director. I think they can only serve 2 terms or something like that. I can't remember why, but so then he has Lloyd Howell placed into his position, and then he gets appointed, elected, whatever, as his advisor, basically. So chief strategist. So, but there's an independent investigation against Lloyd Howell.
Okay, what now? There is.
There is. Yes, there is. So, but the question is whether it's really independent. But okay, so there's a lot more attention and awareness about Lloyd Howell. Remember I mentioned Lloyd Howell had kind of a sketchy past?
Yeah.
Because he was working, I think he was the CFO, or I can't remember what his position was right now. I'd have to look in my notes from last episode, but he was working for that large contractor out of DC that contracted to the United States government, was found to be bilking the taxpayers out of $500,000 a year. And so he lost his job, and they ended up they settled also for $3.7 million, almost $500 million with the US government. So he was out of a job, and then he lands this job for the NFLPA. Great pick, Tretter.
Woof. So wait, what was the company that he was working for that was part of the scandal?
What was their name?
Yeah,
no, it's not part of the NFL scandal.
No. I mean, you said that there's this other thing that he was involved with, and
right. So that was his past. Yep. So that was his past. But
right. So what was the company called? Oh, Booz Allen. Right. I was just checking on the side here.
Booz Allen was.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Before he went yes. And then the only reason that was found out is because they had a whistleblower who came forth.
Yeah.
Just God bless whistleblowers, right? So
Lloyd Howell was part of that whole Booz Allen mess. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Correct, right? That's what we talked about last episode. But beyond that, so he went from there to the NFLPA, but now he's under investigation. And from what I can tell, it's like 3 different things, right?
Oh my gosh!
But and so it just came out that there's an independent investigation. I'm doing air quotes on a lot of this. But we don't know who is investigating necessarily. Who hired Wilmer Hall? Wilmer Hale is the name of the law office that's hired to investigate him. But there's question about whether they're really independent or not, because Wilmer Hale has already worked for the NFL. So if the NFL is actually investigating him, are they really yeah, so there's just a lot of weird things. And evidently Wilmer Hale somehow was involved in editing Howell's comments after the Super Bowl, because lawyers are always involved in everything that goes out publicly,
of course.
Releases and that kind of thing. So press releases and all. So but there's more awareness about Howell now, which I think is good. And again, he's JCTretter's placeholder, because JCTretter wants a permanent position. Twitter wants a permanent position. But here's the thing. So there's a few things that came out. So I don't know if I mentioned this 3 weeks ago, but this Howell guy, he's paying millions of dollars for his position for NFLPA, but he's got a side gig going. He's got a side gig going.
Yeah, what's the side gig?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. He's working for what's the name of their organization? He's working for the Carlyle Group as, I think, like a consultant, but he's getting paid a ton of money. Well, who's the Carlyle Group? Yeah. Well, they're a private equity firm that he's consulting for just as a side gig. Like, why do you need a side gig when you're making all that money? Like, aren't you busy? Aren't you busy? Anywho, private equity firm. And guess what the private equity firm wants to invest in? They want to be able to invest in NFL franchise. They want to be they want to be part owners of teams.
Isn't that a conflict of interest?
There's a big conflict of interest. I mean, so you would think, because he's in charge of the union for the NFL.
Yeah. So that's messed up. No, that's no.
And that's only one thing that's come to my attention. So he's also he's technically being investigated for sure by the FBI.
The FBI?
Yes, he's under investigation for his role in the union. I'm just going to call it the union. NFLPA is just a weird word. with One Team Partners. That's a licensing firm that helps athletes profit outside of their actual arrangements with the teams.
Okay.
Right.
Like endorsements and stuff
salaries.
like that, or
like
so like
business arrangements with Nike, or getting
Right, so
commercials for State Farm, or all those
stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So so he's being investigated for his role as the union president so recently, because he's only been there for a couple of years,
Right.
with this One Team Partners. And then we have the situation where he's got the side gig with Carlisle Group, which is also a conflict of interest. And then evidently there's a broader inquiry into the union's activities and the potential conflicts of interest in financial mismanagement within the union. So they're just doing a great job, Tretter and Howell, and they still have their jobs. And then in the meantime, I don't know, have you seen this whole uncovering of Tretter's comments back in the day he made on a podcast about running backs? When the running backs were having a hard time getting what they wanted, we know Aaron Jones was a big part, part of trying to get running backs to get paid better. And he's like, wink, wink, on the podcast saying, well, you can just fake an injury. He said it publicly. And he's like, I would never say that publicly. I would never say that, like wink, wink. So that's all coming back out now. And so Tretter is just like in so much hot water.
No.
But I always wondered, like, why, and that was hidden too. There was a grievance about that against the union by the NFL for that.
Really? Oh, wow.
And here's the weird thing is the NFL won that grievance, but they hid that too.
What? Why?
Right. So I still have always thought that Tretter, it's all been like this for that, exchange for this, and I always knew that we were going to find out that there was way more to Tretter hiding the union's win, basically, than just, there's way more to this. It's really looking ugly. It's just so complicated. There's so, I mean, I don't know if it's complicated. They're just like, every chance, it just seems so crimey. Every time they turn around, they're just trying to do something that they shouldn't be, is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's just dirty. It's muddy and dirty and filthy. It's gross.
So so did Tretter and Howell, who were, and I guess Tretter and Howell were the only ones called up for the investigation, the inquiry by the NFL about these comments about faking injuries. They were the only ones called up to answer questions, just those two. And then that was all shut down. Yeah. So, to me, it's like there's at least 3 known issues with Howell. There's a couple with Tretter. There's a lot there. There's a lot of there.
So HE Soda says, now I'm ashamed that Tretter is a former Packer. No, former Brown. Former Browns? How do you say that? Former Brown. He's a former Brown is what he is.
He's a Brownie. He was on the Packer for a minute, wasn't he? He was. Yeah. I know. Oh, he's just, this is not looking good. So
woo-hoo-hoo. That's spicy. We should also give a quick tip of the hat to Pablo Torre and I hate to say it, Mike Florio, for the ones who really like bust this wide open. So this is bananas.
Yeah, and now there's articles everywhere, because I looked this afternoon. It's like now people are really covering things.
Yeah, so it started, it was like, Pablo talked about it on a show, and then, Justice kind of like tried to bring some awareness, Justice Mosqueda tried to bring some awareness through Acme Packing Company, and nobody else was really talking about it, and it kind of caught fire. I know that Pablo was on the Athletic Football Show recently talking about it. And so, the fact that you're seeing more articles, it's actually, people are becoming aware of it. Like, that's good. You gotta,
and there's more coming out. There's more coming out.
Woo.
And when Tretter made those comments, this is only a couple of years ago, and I kind of remember it vaguely. Like, I remember everything vaguely because I don't have a great memory, but it comes back to me. But I remember And Florio brought this up. He said, because he was on Pablo Torre's show this week, he covered that. Like, you shouldn't say that out loud. You shouldn't be telling players to fake injuries. That's not good for them. It's not good for anyone. It's not. And he's pro player. Like Florio, that's one of the things I really respect about him. He's always pro player rights and whatnot. And he covered it pretty extensively, where again, that was something that was just ignored by a lot of people. So I feel like good for them, because they've been on it big time.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge props.
Yeah. So Howell, I don't know. Well, it's all going to come out. They're both going to be gone pretty soon. I can't imagine the players, now that it's starting to take a little bit of momentum, although I can see how this is very convoluted and it could be overwhelming to understand. You don't have to understand every little bit of it to know that something doesn't smell right, and you don't want those people who are supposed to be protecting your rights in your union, and protecting you basically to be making decisions. Yeah. And be paid that much money to be making decisions. So it's getting messier. I thought maybe that was the end of it. It got kind of quiet, but I always felt like, and I even did I write an email? I think for the first time in my life, I wrote an email to Florio saying, why because I knew something else had to be there as a motivator for Tretter to hide all. Like, why would he hide the win? It doesn't make sense. It just didn't make sense to me.
Right.
So I knew something else had to come from that. Maddie, it's so ugly, and we just want our players to have a clean union. This is the problem with unions. They get too powerful. Like, this is one of the biggest, most important unions in sports, right? That these people are in charge of. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and corruption in a union is one of the most, like, for me, disheartening things, because like it's such an important engine for equity, you know, and for that to rot.
Yeah, and it happens.
What a betrayal, you know.
Way too often. Like, the mafia is involved in a lot of unions, and it's unfortunate. Yeah,
it is.
So with that,
on a different note. So back to something more positive, I guess. Okay. So, you know, earlier in the show I mentioned that spending like 6 hours just like playing around in Excel today was like huge fun. That's important context for my next one. All right. So I said that because the superlative dawn is most fun, and this is over the last 3 weeks since we last talked. All right. So every day, maybe it's every week too, but every day, if you sign up for this, and you get a one play a day from Coach Dan Casey to your inbox, and he'll show the play, like seeing it happening from the all 22. Then I'll like show the breakdown of the diagram of it, then show it from like the sideline view, and so you get a chance to see the different views of it, see what's happening. He talks kind of quickly about what it is. You can kind of see how the play is constructed. Like, it's one of my most favorite things every day is like when I get a chance between, you know, other tasks to like, you know, spend a couple minutes looking at the play that Dan Casey sent out for that day. It's great stuff. So there was one, it must have been roughly a week ago, that was intricate and amazing. And when I watched it, like, I was like, what is going on there? Because it was a situation where the quarterback, like, basically, if I can kind of try to describe it, there's like a motion, I think, from a wide receiver in front of the quarterback, an orbit motion comes back, and then the quarterback like fakes to that receiver. Then there's a running back coming across, fakes to the running back as they're like spinning around. So it's like the quarterback's like, you know, doing like pirouettes basically, fakes to the running back, and then like tosses it, a little, you know, shovel toss to like another wide receiver who takes it out on the edge, while the O-line is like kind of doing some, like, you know, pulling some pin push stuff to seal up that edge. This play is crazy looking and like intricate and super effective. Like the team that was using it in this example was like got a huge chunk of yards. So super fun play to watch. I was like, oh my God, I know that Dusty gets these too, Dusty Evely. So I was like, I texted Dusty, like, dude, did you see this one, man? This is so cool. And yeah, he was geeking out about it after he saw it too. And then he ended up writing an article about it, which was super cool. So,
neat.
I see these like daily Dan Casey emails, and
Mhm.
then from that, Dusty wrote this article that expounded on it more and talked about how the Packers could use it. So it was like really cool seeing like this thing that I enjoy, like being covered and like elaborated, by Dusty, who of course is amazing at this kind of stuff.
Right.
I
I
forget where I
love
heard it.
that.
I think John Meredith or somebody else was talking about like reading really good content from film grinders trying to like write about a thing. It's a special art to do that in a way that can communicate clearly what is happening, in a play. And man, Dusty's stuff is always just a delight to read. So of course, him coming to this really fun play, talking about it, all that, it's a must read. It's the most fun thing I've read in the last 3 weeks. It was a great time.
Ooh. So maybe do I need to look at the email for the first
Well,
content first?
you should sign up for sure. But I mean, Dusty talks about like what
He
was
breaks it
in
down
the
enough.
yeah,
Okay.
and it's like here's kind of what we saw in the email, and kind of like elaborates from there. So like you don't
Okay.
need to have seen that email necessarily,
Okay. Cool.
but you should
Love
sign up
that.
for it because it's great. So
I'm going to. It sounds great. I'm ready. We're 6 days away. Did I mention
that's
6
right.
days away from
6
training?
days. Oh my god.
I can't wait. And I've actually had a couple weeks at least now, and I will have
Mhm.
more off from trials. I just taken a break. There's been a break in the ones that I was interested in. And I mean, sure, it's always easy to get into another one. There's a million to listen to, watch.
Always
But
a
I'm
trial.
not like, I don't want to do that all the time. But there was like a period of time this year where there was just one after another, and sometimes they were overlapping. So I was trying to keep up with two at once. And yeah, so I'm enjoying that. There's a little bit of a break. The next big one is going to be in August, and I think it's only 3 weeks, so it should be done before around when football starts.
Mm-hmm.
So
Perfect.
guilty verdict, but then yeah, one more rest after that probably, but we'll see. All right, Maddie. Well, my last superlative is just biggest yay, our quarterback's wedding.
Oh, love it.
Just needed to mention it.
Mm-hmm.
California wedding, beautiful on the ocean, featuring In-N-Out burgers, if you're familiar. For the guests, after hours, Pizza Hut, and a honeymoon in the Maldives.
Oh,
Maldives. So picture perfect. Yay. So super happy for Jordan and Veronica. Mr. and
yes.
Mrs. Green Bay Packers. Yeah, finally. I've been waiting all summer for that news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the stuff that came through on Instagram about that was gorgeous.
Yes, so
So nice.
nice. I don't know if I mentioned this one random thing. A couple months ago, I don't know, probably in a chat or something on a true crime thing, on a trial or whatever, and somebody who I've interacted with before said, "Who's that? Who is that?" Jordan Love. I don't know if he said who, but he didn't know who Ronica was.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, he said something about they do a commercial together. I've seen their commercial and she's just so pretty. And I was like, I've never seen the commercial he was talking about because out here it was something you don't see out here. So I had to look it up, and I looked it up and I'm like, oh, that's my Veronica Stone. That's my volleyball player.
That's right.
And so I send him all kinds of volleyball stuff.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and so I just randomly thought about him the other day, and I sent him some Instagram wedding pictures from them because he liked her so much. Yeah.
Excellent.
Anywho, yeah, it's just so wholesome and sweet, and
yes.
I'm so glad they got that wrapped up and time for training camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope she's going to play for San Diego again this coming year. I haven't paid that much attention to the volleyball thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they should be announcing, because a lot of that is on Twitter. And,
which you're not on so much these days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the trades and the team and the what's my word? What we just, I can't think of the word. when they draft. The draft.
The
They have.
draft. When they draft people, it's called the draft.
Well, it's just so weird because like we just had the NFL draft. This
Mhm.
season ends with the NFL, and then the draft is like 5 minutes later. It's so weird. It's real quick. It's
Mhm.
not like a few months like with football.
Right.
I'm sorry, NBA. It's like a
Oh,
real,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, wait. Major League Baseball's in the middle of the season, I learned. That's weird.
yeah. And then so I can't keep track with all of these different sports, and I don't pay that much attention. But so the volleyball, I kind of was relying on Twitter for, so I'll have to go look it up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Look it up.
Maddie,
All
it's
right,
been
Dawn.
great chatting with you.
Oh, my goodness. I know. It was a long episode today because we had so much we want to talk about, and we just had to
Too
get caught up and
much.
go through all
Yeah,
that. I know.
yeah. It's been fun. It's been fun to catch up. So we'll probably see you in a couple weeks, maybe.
Let's say 2 weeks. Totally.
Yes. Yes, I should have some answers on my personal stuff after this week. So we'll
Good,
know
good,
what
good.
the game plan is. And I am 99% sure that we're going to be back on track for every week
Oh, good.
starting the new season. So
Oh, perfect. That'd be great.
yeah.
And we won't spoil it yet, but I know that I guess 3 weeks from now we have a very special guest. So stay tuned for who that's going to be. That should be a lot of fun. So
Yes. So he'll be our special guest will be celebrating the beginning of our 5th year doing this
that?
podcast. The beginning, not the 5th year. So we don't get to celebrate till the end of next year, right? The end of the year. Is it the 5th year
depends on how
anniversary?
you frame it. It's the beginning of the 5th season sounds cooler than the end of the 4th year, I think. So that's what we'll go with.
Well, the beginning of the 5th season, but not the 5th anniversary, because the 5th anniversary will be at the
Right.
end.
That'd be the
Yes.
end. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all about how you frame it.
All right, Maddie. Well, let's bring her home.
Let's do it. All right. So, friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you. And speaking of, once we can kind of get back into the regular, weekly thing, we're going to probably be getting back to having people on a regular basis, which I've really missed. I think it's been good to get away from that for a little bit. But there's a bunch of people who I think we have in the chamber ready to go. So I'm excited for that. But anyhow, friends, as I was saying, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you next week on.
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.